You're listening to the Weekend Sport Podcast with Jason Pine from News Talk ZB.
All right, let's get you to New York, to Flushing Meadows, where the US Tennis Open is going on. Our man there, of course, is Craig Gabriel. Always good to be able to chat to you during your busy schedule, Craig. Tell us the story, first of all, of this 22-year-old Australian, Rinky Hijikata. He's into the last 16 in the men's singles.
Yeah, he certainly is. Just a little while ago, I was speaking with him following his match, which was against Zhizhen Zhang, 6-3, 6-3, 4-6, 6-3 to Hijikata. You look at him, yes, you figure he's Japanese, but you hear him talk, you think, oh, he's Dinky Die Aussie. And that's fantastic, for sure. He's pretty obviously excited about it. I mean, it's the first time he's reached the second week of a major. His best effort at a major before was the second round of this year's Australian Open, which he also went on to win the men's doubles title there with Jason Kubler. He's been an orange boy with the Australian Davis Cup team as well, but this is pretty exciting for him, and it was a very good effort to reach the fourth round, because that's also boosted his world ranking. On the live rankings, he's going to be about 80. He started the US Open at 110, so he got through that, and his next opponent is a very tough one. It's Francis Tiafoe.
What sort of player is Hijikata? What are his strengths, Craig?
Yeah, look, like a lot of kids these days, he's more from the back of the court, but he's not scared to take any chances. He can be aggressive on the court. He's pretty good off the ground. I think it was the fourth set. He struck a running backhand down the line that was beyond a sizzler, and the crowd just roared and rose in unison to applaud that shot, and he was pretty stoked with it himself. It was a massive return, so he can pull those sort of shots out. He goes in against Francis Tiafoe as the underdog, and Tiafoe was also saying that he doesn't know anything about him. And I put that to Rinky, and Rinky said, well, look, you know what, he's a class player. He'll probably figure it out within the first 15, 20 minutes anyway. So he was looking, but he's still obviously looking forward to it. So these are the sort of things that you play for. So he went to college in the United States at the University of North Carolina, which had that horrible shooting earlier in the week. And that affected Rinky as well. But he's got a bit of an aggressive game, but certainly off the ground.
A wider look at the men's singles. Alcaraz, Djokovic and Medvedev, the top three seeds, are all still alive. Who's looked best in the first week for you, Craig?
Look, Alcaraz and Djokovic. It's actually difficult. Djokovic is on right now. He's playing Laszlo Djere, his compatriot, and Djere's got a point to go up 4-1 in the first set. Carlos has been pretty good most of the time. And then as far as Daniil is concerned, well, I love Daniil. He's such a good guy. He's such a funny guy. He's so clever as well. His first round, he dropped only 2 games. I think, what was it, 1-1 in love or something like that. And then you look at his match last night over here against Christopher O'Connell from Sydney, and it could have been really dicey. It ended up going 4 sets when he had chances to win it in 3 sets. So, look, all of them, if you're looking at Djokovic right now, all of them have had their moments, but they've also had some streamlined results. It's still early days in the tournament, still working their way in.
Do we need to go any further down, though, to find our winner? Yannick Sinner, Andrei Rublev, Taylor Fritz still there, Francis Tiafoe you've already mentioned. Do we need to go any further down than the top 3 to find our winner here? Yep,
you mentioned one of them. Another player that I absolutely love watching is Yannick Sinner, Carrot Top. I don't know. Have you ever seen his cheer squad?
I haven't.
They just pop up in certain places. There's about 3 or 4 guys, and they dress up as carrots, and they cheer. What? And they're not even American to do anything stupid like that. But it's very funny. He's very amused by it all, and he gets a kick out of it. He's a really good guy, very down to earth, with a fantastic game, and being an Australian, I've got to plug the fact that there's an Australian connection in there with his coach being Darren Cahill from Adelaide.
All right, let's go across to the women's singles. The top 6 seeds are all still alive. That's actually a little bit rare because normally you get a seed or two falling in the first week of a women's Grand Slam in particular. What have you made of the first week of the women's singles?
Not just the first week, first day.
Yes.
You can never rely on women's tennis. Yeah, look, the one that I think is capturing two of them, one American for obvious reasons, and that's Coco Gauff. There's a lot of support for her, as you would expect. But the other one that's proven to be a really wonderful story is Caroline Wozniacki. She's made her return after having 2 children, the second one only 10 months ago, and she hasn't played a major since the 2020 Australian Open. She beat Petra Kvitova in the previous round, and today she came back from a set down to beat Jennifer Brady, who's also making a comeback. So yeah, it's fantastic to see Caro back on court, and she's such a delight. And obviously, look, it's hard to go past Iga Swiatek. She won today, 6-love, 6-1. She won the first 9 games of the match against somebody who's supposed to be a close friend of hers. So with friends like that, who needs enemies? It was 6-love, 6-1.
Well, yeah, no, I guess it's all fair in love and war once they get onto the tennis court. But as far as the US Open is concerned, Craig, you've been to all the majors many, many times. Where does the US Open sit for you? What is particularly special about it?
Oh, gosh. Look, all 4 majors have their own personalities. They're all so different from one another, and that's great. That's exactly what we want to see. But out of the 4, I'd probably, at times, I would rate the U.S. Open 5. It's a difficult tournament with the day-night sessions. Yes, I know the Australian Open has that as well, but at least with the Australian Open, you're positioned in almost in the heart of the city, so it's convenient. Whereas this one at Flushing Meadows in the area of Queens, it takes a minimum 35-40 minutes to get in here, and if you strike traffic, it can be well over an hour. So you're a bit remote over here, and I find it a bit difficult, with the organization with this tournament. But certainly, it's you're hard-pressed to beat a night match at the U.S. Open. It's pretty special. It's pretty spectacular. Any player who's done that or has had the opportunity to be in that situation says they remember it always. So, as I said, every tournament has got it up and down. No tournament is perfect, but I would, for my money, out of the 4, U.S. Open would be the last one.
What about from a media point of view, Craig? I'd be interested to know how you find it to cover each of the 4 and whether the US Open would be elevated above 4th in that regard.
No, they would drop to 6th.
Oh no!
Seriously, I'm not kidding you. As far as I'm concerned, that's the way it is. They're all generally okay. As long as you've got your Wi-Fi operating and you've got a proper phone connection, you can get away with it, and you can do your work. And I've got television commitments here as well as radio commitments and writing commitments. So there's quite a range, and it does, without being funny, it does get pretty exhausting. It's a tough tournament, as I was saying, because of the hours and the time differences you're dealing with, and then the transport issues. Now, I'll average, and I'm not kidding here, I'll average 3 hours sleep a night for the next 2 weeks. Because of the time I have to start and finish and get back, etc., etc. So it's not easy in that regard.
And they say covering sport at the top level is glamorous, Craig.
I wouldn't do it for anything else. There's not a chance. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't be doing it. It is pretty special to do this. I do find that where I like the getaway and the peace and quiet is when I'm on a flight. And as long as there's no Wi-Fi on the plane, that's even better.
Always love chatting to you, Craig. Thanks so much for bringing us the flavour of the US Open, as you always do so well. Craig Gabriel out of Flushing Meadows in New York after, almost a week of the final tennis major of the year.
For more from Weekend Sport with Jason Pine, listen live to News Talk ZB weekends from midday or follow the podcast on iHeartRadio.